Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Preppy podcast. Thank you all so much for listening today. I have a ton of exciting news that I'm so thrilled to share with you. So, the first being is that the first ever Preppy Podcast retreat is going to be this July 13th through 16th in the Berkshires. So I know I have had a lot of requests over the years to do some sort of conference or retreat get together. And we know that I've been trying to do a lot of live panels, which have been so successful. And there's more to share on that at a later date. But we finally have the first retreat. Basically, anyone can go to this. If you're a listener, if you're a business owner, and maybe you don't have a business, but you just love a preppy lifestyle, it's for everyone, honestly. Think of it as adult preppy summer camp. The inspiration was the Parent Trap, sort of those vibes when they go to a summer camp. It's just back to girlhood. So we will be doing all sorts of preppy activities, everything from watercolors to Mahjong. I'm still finalizing a lot more of the details, but we have those things confirmed, and it's just going to be a few days of preppy activities. The gift bags already insane. For example, Scout Bags has donated some of their bags, so it's going to be stuffed to the brim with lots of preppy brands, many of which have been on this podcast. So go to thepreppypodcast.com and get your tickets now. You guys are the first to hear about the retreat. So I wanted to give listeners the first dibs on those because there are only 20 tickets and there's an early bird special right now. So get them while they are more affordable and while they're still around. That's thepreppypodcast.com. You'll find Camp Preppy on there with more information and tickets. The other thing I wanted to mention while you're there on the website is there's a lot of new arrivals there. We have Maddie and Connor, really adorable kids clothing that I just added, some golf, some hydrangeas for summer, just so adorable for your preppy little one. Then Emily McCarthy shop, I have lots of new fun, summery, springy, floral, colorful pieces from her. And lastly, Costa Nila, a brand Coastal Brahmin, as they previously were known. I interviewed her on the podcast probably a year or so ago. They rebranded, have a new name, and really great new arrivals that I just added to the website. So go and check those out. But this week, I have an interview with the founders of Charleston Mahjong Club. You guys know I love Mahjong. I have a group that I play with every week. So I was super excited to learn more about these ladies and how they came up with their business. And they're very preppy Mahjong tiles. You guys might have remembered I played with their country club set. It's golf and tennis and pickle themed. Super fun. So without further ado, I know we had a long intro this week, but let's get into this week's episode. All right. So why don't you let everyone know who you are, where you live, and what you do?
So I'm Megan Kaludis, and I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and I have a business with a partner who will introduce herself in a minute. We have a business called Charleston Mahjong Club, where we design and sell Mahjong tile sets and accessories.
Excellent.
And I'm Childs Thrasher, also in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Charleston Mahjong Club. And we also have a third partner who is our designer, Rachel Wilson, and she's not with us today. She had another work obligation, but she is the designer who is very talented, and we're sorry that she's not here today.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to have you two ladies. And all of my listeners know that I love playing Mahjong. I play with a group of my friends just about once a month. We get together. So I am thrilled to learn more about your business today.
Yeah, we're excited to talk with you about it. Thanks for
So
having us.
I always start the podcast at the beginning. What were both of you ladies like as kids? Were you creative? Were you entrepreneurial? Tell me a little bit about both your childhood.
Well, I don't think I was like particularly creative or entrepreneurial at the time. I'm a like physical therapist also, so I think also Childs and I have other businesses which we'll talk about too.
Mhm.
But I'm like the math and science person. But I do get ideas in my head a lot that I just think about stuff and it just kind of comes to me. And sometimes I'm just not good at putting it on paper.
Hmm.
So sometimes I have an idea and I come up with something and then, I'm not great at like drawing it out or putting it on paper, but I think I'm a creative brain. I think
Yeah.
Childs, you have that too.
Well, and I, as a child, I was very creative, and it's funny because I'm a lawyer, which is not by trade, and it's
Yeah.
not considered a creative endeavor. But I would argue that it is
Yeah.
creative because you have to come up with creative solutions for your
Totally.
clients. But it's funny because my role has, as we've evolved in this business, is less on the creative side. It's more on the financial and the organizational and the legal side, and making sure that we're organized and that we're keeping our books and our taxes and learning about sales tax. So it's funny because I did grow up being pretty creative, and it's fun. This has been a fun endeavor because it is creative,
Yeah.
but my particular role is not a creative one. We
Yeah.
joke about Megan and Rachel are, looking at color swatches and being fun and creative, and I'm over with my calculator and the spreadsheets.
But everyone needs that. I feel like that's such an important job and position then within any business.
Yes, exactly.
So,
So I wouldn't say like I grew up in that realm necessarily, but
yeah.
we've kind of branched into that with the Mahjong thing. But I was very sporty. And if you look at our tile sets, all the sports that we have on the tile sets, I pretty much play or have been involved with in some way. So some of that was brought into our sets.
Yeah.
I think there's like pickleball and tennis and golf and ski, and so we brought some of that into our mahjong sets, with what I do and enjoy.
Well, and I also will push back on Megan a little bit that you are very creative. A lot of
Yeah,
the ideas are Megan's ideas. In particular, like the country club set.
Yeah.
She would say, okay, I think that the dots should be pickleballs and tennis balls. And then Rachel would take that idea and kind of come up with, okay, how does that fit into the mahjong images, and the different suits, and put it on the tile. But it would be a
yeah,
lot
that's
of
true.
the ideas come from Megan.
Yeah, I didn't have like a creative background, but I do have a good I have an ability to see 3D fairly easily.
Okay.
And so I think that helps with making tiles, especially in design. So I can see it in my head. Like all the designs that we've come up with for our sets, I had them in my head before
Mhm.
Yeah,
we
right.
had them on the tile
So a
set.
lot of the
So it
ideas
did, yeah.
have come from Megan, and then I can sometimes draw it,
Mhm.
and then Rachel can put it into a digital format with relief, because they're not completely 3D, but as you
Yeah.
know, as a mahjong player, the tiles, there is relief in there, and there's
Yeah.
a little bit of dimension. And so in order to be able to do that, and then also to make sure that colors aren't touching other colors because of the way that they are painted,
Yeah.
so that there's no bleeding. So it is there. I think that it's been a good partnership with bringing different talents to the table.
Yeah.
Totally. That's so interesting, each of your backgrounds and careers. So, where did you guys meet and come together, and then sort of how did that lead into a business? I assume you guys were friends and knew each other first, and then got into business together. But tell me about finding each other in general.
So we live on an island in Charleston called Daniel Island. So it's a small community, and a lot of people know each other. And a lot of the children here grow up together. So our kids, we have children the same age, and so we met each other through just our kids, in school. And we started becoming friends, and then we started playing mahjong, and we both enjoy games and thinking games and things. So we started talking about it and how much we loved it. And honestly, we were at Boy Scouts one day with our kids, and I'm like, someone has to do like a ski set. Like, how have we not come up with a ski set? Like, that's such a great idea. And we talked about the club themes, and I told her all these ideas that I had, and Childs was like, that's brilliant. I mean, she was all on board, and she was like in it. In fact, I think Childs has pushed me to think outside of just, we thought, oh, maybe I was thinking in my head, I'll just make it like a cute little tile set and maybe
Mhm.
sell one little tile set. But Childs has really pushed like, no, we can make a brand like this. this is a brand. We have
Uh-huh.
lots of great ideas. Let's run with it. No one's done this before. And so I think she saw the vision to be a little more.
Well, and I
than-
think that we were like Megan had kind of the idea, and then I was like, okay, let's come up with a business agreement and a plan, and okay, what do the financials look like? And then we were looking at manufacturers, and so I think it's a good meshing of skills. And then Megan knew Rachel, if you want to tell that.
Yeah, Rachel grew up across the street from me in West Ashley. We used to live in another part of town. And so she's a little bit younger than us, and she just graduated from Clemson a few years ago with a graphic design degree. So when I was talking to my husband about, we need to find someone to do the design work, because it's going to be a lot of design. It's mostly design. And I said, I need to find someone really good who'll understand what is in my head and be able to get it out. And he was like, you should call Rachel. She just graduated with graphic design, and she has that aesthetic. She loves bright colors, and she's really, really talented. As you can tell, if you've seen our tile, you can see that is definitely what I think about is she can bring it out on the tile.
Yeah.
And she's done such a good job with them too. Like, she and I sit down for several hours and design the tiles together, because sometimes something doesn't work. And so we'll rework it and come up with something. And she and I somehow, like, our brains just seem to go to the same thing. We're like, that's exactly what I was thinking, or it works out really well.
So no, you're good. You can go ahead.
If your listeners don't know, Mahjong is a tile game. And there are between 152 and 160 tiles, individual tiles in the set, depending on if you have blanks and how many jokers you have. So if you think about that, each one of those tiles has to be designed, or 152 to 154, depending on your jokers, have to be designed individually. So it's a lot of design work. So Rachel and Megan spend a lot of time on the design, and then I'll pop in and just
well, you give your
smash,
you're very helpful.
say that does not look like an azalea,
or like a dogwood or a poinsettia. Got a lot of that.
Yeah, and then and I enter in, but I don't. I don't spend as much time as the two of you do on the particular designs, which takes a lot of time and effort. And we're very fortunate that Rachel has the design background that she has and the talent that she has.
Definitely. No, your tiles are so cute. So you came up with this idea then how do you find your manufacturer? Like, what did that process look like? Finding them, any tips for finding them? And then also, what was the timeline on from idea to like having a product to be able to sell?
Okay, so So my husband has been a big part of helping us with this process, because he's a manufacturer here in the U.S.
Okay.
And he's a quite large facility. And so he works with China a lot, but he does manufacture his stuff here in the USA now. But he was helpful in getting us kind of linked with some of the manufacturers and showing me where to find them and how to start conversations with them.
Okay.
Since then, we have gone, we've reached out to several manufacturers. So it's actually an ongoing process. Some can do certain designs and some can't. So there's not like, oh, we have one manufacturer for everything. It's definitely a process.
And we're learning, this has been a major learning curve for us, because we started out obviously not in manufacturing, even though Megan and I both have our own separate businesses. I'm practicing lawyer, I have my own practice, and Megan is a physical therapist. She has her own physical therapist practice. So we've had that kind of business side, but manufacturing was new. So Megan's husband, Greg, has been a major resource for us. And then also just learning, okay, which manufacturers can can do which things, and then how to safeguard, because we are dealing with international manufacturers in some instances. And so how to safeguard, because you don't want to just throw money out there with no way of recouping if we don't get the product.
Yeah.
Or if it's not the quality, or if it gets lost in shipping. And there's a lot of, my legal background has helped with some of that, but this is international. So we're learning a lot. The other thing that you just asked was what's the timeline?
Yeah.
We are coming up on a year.
We officially LLC was in June?
1st of May was LLC.
But we started getting together. I mean, you and I first discussed it in February of last year, and we started meeting with Rachel in March.
Right. So it's been about a year, and our first actual physical product that we got in our hands, which was the cocktail club set, was not until November. So it took a lot longer than we thought.
Yes.
And we launched our Instagram account before we probably should have, because we thought we were getting the product quicker.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time. I mean, the process to make Mahjong tiles, some of it is laser cutting, but some of it is hand painting. And so it takes a long time. There's some precision there. There's artistry. The folks that are painting, they're called oil masters. They are artists. And so it takes them, it's a long, slow process. So I'm working on patience.
I mean, but still, that's something to be said, that, you created the idea and then had products, and to me, in a relatively short amount of time, I would say.
Well, that's probably true. And if you ask folks that are in manufacturing and business startups, they would probably agree with you.
Yeah.
We were on a daily basis. Where is that stuff?
Yeah. My husband was laughing at Childs so many times, because he's like, he was just cracking up. He's like, that's not coming anytime soon.
Like, I know. I'm like, it's almost
like, what do you think you're dealing with? And then he told us all these things that'll happen that did come to fruition. It's just really funny dealing with a different culture and a different time zone.
Yeah. And different holidays that they take off for.
Different holidays. Yeah.
I mean, different work week, different. And also, I mean, in order to, talk to, for example, someone in China, it's 3 a.m. here.
Yeah.
We're up like late at night. We're up early in the morning. I mean, at this point, our day starts. If I get up at 6 o'clock, I can talk to some of those manufacturers as they're ending their day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are late nights, early mornings, and that is difficult, because then it's, another 24 hours before they have a chance to respond, or before we have a chance to respond to them. So it's a learning curve.
Big learning curve.
But it has been exciting. I mean, it's kind of nice to do something new and creative, when you've been in the same field for a while.
Right. We're both in the service industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is a whole different realm for us. And it's a huge learning curve. I mean, I had made my own website, but this is very different. Having a product on a website and selling product and having packaging, and it's a whole different world. Inventory and shipping. It's a whole different world. And my husband has been very helpful in guiding us.
Yeah.
As an unpaid consultant.
And letting us store our product at his warehouse. We have like a whole corner in the back, and we're like, we're gonna need more space. We're gonna need this whole wall here. And he's like, what?
No, a pallet comes in. It has been fun. It's been it's pretty amazing that it's caught on.
Yeah.
We sold Country Club sold out in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Which we didn't know if is anybody going to buy this stuff?
Yeah. So how did you get the word out to market then, the brand? Like, once you had the products, what's been working in terms of marketing?
We did Instagram, and it was good that we started the Instagram, I think, as early as we did, because even though we didn't have the product, we started kind of gaining some momentum with it. And then by the time it came out, we had a decent number of people following us.
Yeah.
So Instagram has been big. We will do more cheesy like cocktail videos and just being silly and dressing up and playing and, putting my dog on. But these are all things that are real life things for us that we enjoy.
Yeah.
And so we just want people to, like, when they look at our Instagram, think it's cute and funny and fun and colorful and all the things that our tiles embody, and not take ourselves too seriously.
Yes.
And relatable, for
Right.
sure. We
Yeah.
want to be relatable.
Well, and I think that's really been our marketing, has been Instagram. And then we fairly recently decided to put our tiles up on Etsy, which
Okay.
initially, right now it's sold on our website, but we also put them on Etsy. And that has been,
Very
to
good.
my surprise, we've sold a lot on Etsy, which has been surprising to me because I didn't realize that people are looking for Mahjong tiles on Etsy. So now we have kind of a dual sales platform that Megan is dealing with inventory in that way. But we've also been to some events that have been good, I think, for getting the word out. We went to a destination Mahjong tournament recently, and that was huge for us.
Yeah.
Because even getting our name out to that audience and getting our products out to that audience, but then they were also sending it to their friends. So a lot of it's been word of mouth.
And because that group, they're tournament players, they don't necessarily get onto Instagram, the social media, as much as maybe we do. And so there's a whole, I think, group of people that are untapped of Mahjong players.
Yeah.
That aren't necessarily on the social media.
Yeah.
So the woman who runs that Destination Mahjong told us that she has like an email list of, I think, 10,000 people. Is that what she said?
I think so.
Who aren't on Instagram.
She sends out emails about her events. She doesn't it's not, I mean, she does have an Instagram, but that's not where most of her audience is. So it's just learning. I mean, we are learning all of these different avenues as we move forward. And then also, I think word of mouth, as someone gets some of our tile sets or gets some of our other products, they spread, and they use them, then they spread the word to the next group.
And then we also have an affiliate program that we've put a lot of focus into, because we feel like the teachers are really great at showing people how to play and showing the tiles.
Yeah.
And letting people, see and feel the tile. And so we really wanted to get our product to the instructors out there.
The Mahjong instructors, there's and I'm sure you're aware of this, but I don't know if your listeners aren't all Mahjong fans, they might not know, but there's a whole industry of folks that are teaching, or they're Mahjong instructors teaching Mahjong in small groups all over the country. And there are so many of those folks. I mean, every major city, and we've started connecting with those are mostly women, but connecting with the folks that are doing Mahjong instruction as a small business, and creating an affiliate program that hopefully benefits them and benefits us and gets our tiles in front of new players.
Yeah.
We're kind of trying to do new players and experienced players.
Yeah.
Some of the experienced players already have their sets, but what we learned when we went to that competition, to the tournament, is that some of them are collectors, and they have multiple sets, and they have their tournament set, which is more traditional, and then they'll have what they call their social sets, which are the more whimsical. And obviously our tiles fall into the whimsical category. They are not traditional tournament National Mahjong League sets. They're the more whimsical sets. So there is a market for both of those things. And we didn't know if the folks that were really serious in doing tournaments would be interested in our tiles.
Yeah.
But they were, and that was really encouraging.
Yeah. They were all so sweet and friendly and very excited about our sets. And it was great because no one was judgmental. I think they were welcoming of having lots of different options.
Yeah.
And a lot of them collect. I mean, There's some collectors. Someone has like 300 sets and they call it the Mahjong. Yeah.
That's so fun. Oh my gosh. So how did you ladies become familiar and interested in Mahjong to begin with?
Well, I mean, there was an instructor here on the
Okay.
island that taught some of our friends, and then I have a girlfriend whose mom plays,
Okay.
and she has a friend that teaches, and so we just went to her house and she taught us how to play. And then kind of we just sat with our girlfriends who were getting together and playing and learned by watching them. I think after the first lesson, I was like, I have no idea. I think I have a general idea of like there's walls and jokers, but it's so much that first, it's a lot of information.
Mhm.
Um, so it took a few, 3 or 4 times of like sitting and watching people, and then I did a hand, and same with you, right?
Well,
Like,
and I for me, I really like games,
Mhm.
and I like card games. The first time I played, I partnered with somebody,
Mhm.
and we kind of did it together. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of like gin, right?
Mhm.
And it's also kind of like Rummy
me too.
Cube because it's got the tiles and it's got the tactile. But to me, I was like, okay, it's gin, but instead of me having all the combinations in my head, it's got a card. And then the more you play, the more you learn about
Right.
all the different nuanced rules. And I think it's just playing. And to me, I like games. I like strategy. I think it's fun to get together with a group of friends and play a
Yeah.
game. My mom growing up played bridge, and she had a
Mhm.
bridge group. And I think depending on where you grew up, your mom might have played bridge, or your mom might have played mahjong, but it was
Mhm.
more. And some people played bunko. It's
Mhm.
kind of like everybody getting together and playing a game. And in our community, mahjong has really taken off
Mhm.
amongst like our friends in our age group here. And so it's always, there's always a group that wants to get together to play.
Mhm.
Now, people have asked us if we play a lot, and Megan and I said that we don't get to play a lot because we're too busy
Too busy
doing
now.
the business side of it.
Yeah.
But when we were at that tournament, we got to play a lot, and it was really fun. Um, so I think it's a social, as you know, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
social thing. But it's not just
Mental
getting
wellness.
together
Yeah.
and just getting together with your friends, but also using your brain
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
different way than you normally do on a day-to-day basis. I think it's attractive to a lot of people. I
Yeah.
also think it's attractive to people to do something, to have a reason to get together.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
after COVID, I think Mahjong kind of exploded amongst groups that it hadn't formally been popular in, because it was a reason to get together and it's something to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me at one of the events, "You're not selling a game, you're selling a hobby."
Mhm.
Mm.
Much like
That's very true.
golf for men, a lot,
Yeah.
or women. But a lot of
Yeah.
times people, they love to play golf, but they love, part of that is because it's social.
Yes, that's a great point. That's a good quote right there. So, what is each of your favorite part about having this business, and what's the hardest part?
Oh my goodness. The hardest part for me is right now we're in the phase where we're growing quickly,
Mhm.
but we're not in the phase where we're like I'm shipping packages out of my house right now,
Yeah.
like every day. So sometimes I am like, oh my gosh, I have like 20 packages, which is great, but it's a lot. And sometimes it's like a little hamster wheel, like you called it.
Yeah.
Like it's a
Mhm.
constant go.
It's like
Yeah.
Sisyphus pushing the what is it, the boulder up the
Yeah.
hill, and as
Yeah.
soon as you get everything out the door, there's more
There's more
orders,
coming in.
which is a
Yeah.
great problem to
It
have.
is.
But it's also, we are at the point we've grown really fast, but we have not hired a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So and then, at what point do you hire somebody to come in and do some of these tasks,
Yeah.
such as some of the shipping or some of the
Mhm.
bookkeeping? And
Mhm.
to me, the biggest challenge is time, right? Because we
Mhm.
all have not enough hours in the day,
Mhm.
with family and work and
And we both
kids.
have
And
businesses
yeah,
also. And
um,
so we're juggling a lot.
Juggling a
Right
lot.
now, eventually, we
and
might
we're
have to move
doing
into this more full time if it continues to grow as
and
it has been.
we're
But
all wearing so many different
hats,
hats,
yeah.
Mhm.
because it's all us, and I think that, and at some point, we want to, how do you grow to scale? And we're getting to that where we are having more product and we're scaling bigger, but we haven't scaled up the personnel side of it.
So we're doing well.
That makes total sense. I feel
and we're, hopefully we'll get to the point where we can push some of these tasks off and, have people to do it. But that's the hard part right now in this phase of our business, I think. And the part I like the most is my favorite part is creating tiles and coming up with designs. Cause so right now we've done another one that's coming out in, you think it's going to be summer? It's going to be summertime, right?
What is it? And we're almost to the end of March. It'll be, I think, May
by the time it actually gets here. So we have another one
spring,
coming.
early summer.
The design's pretty much finalized, and it's coming for sample. Should be here soon. And then we have another one that we're working on that would be probably a fall set. Okay. And so I'm kind of coming up with ideas for all the suits and the things, and it's really fun. I'm texting the girls I think this for the dots and this for the BAMs, and it's just really fun to you really want to. I really want to capture and embody the vibe, the feeling of things that I love about whatever that club is. So if it's a country club, I really wanted it to embody all the things that we think about and really like about the club. You know what I mean? I wanted to really have that aesthetic to it.
No, 1,000%.
And same with, the ski. Yeah. I ski and we go skiing every year. And that was the first set that I thought about. And I had it in my head. I was like, this is going to be the dots. This is the BAMs. I had it all done and planned out. And
I love that set.
I love that set. I was like, we have to do gondolas and we have and the snowflakes. And I wanted it to really feel like the ski chalet. And you're sitting there in the cold snow and you're warming up with a hot toddy. And I think it's
really cute. I think that, and also as we progress with each set, as we design them, then we kind of know the challenges, how much spacing between the colors and how many colors and what the different challenges. So I think they're just getting better and better.
I remember when we were first designing the tiles, we took Childs, who's so good at art. I mean, you're good with your hands and drawing. It's just, she just took modeling clay and we were figuring out the size of our tiles, where we wanted them to be. And so we knew we wanted to be a little bit bigger to allow the images to be seen, but we wanted them to be a little bit thicker so that they would stand up on their own.
And we didn't want them to fall off the rack. And I, unlike Megan, I have a hard time visualing. I need to make it. So we made a little, I would make the little modeling, and I would draw the little picture, and then I'd be like, okay, if I put this on my rack, is it going to fall over or is it going to fit? And then what if you were, proving your hand? So you would have to go like this. How would it feel? So that was fun for me to make, because I like to make stuff.
Childs came up with our spoonbill, which is perfect. That bird is a low country bird.
It migrates through the low country, but it kind of has that feel of, in a lot of Chinese art, there's the crane. And so the spoonbill flies in a similar formation and is a crane type bird that is special to our area.
And it's a social bird.
Yes, it's social
and intelligent
and adaptive
and adaptable. So we picked it to represent, our brand.
Plus it's pink, so that is really cute.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Calendars and it's you did a good job with that.
So I'm curious, who would be your dream customer? If you could pick anyone to play with your tiles, who would it be?
To me, for me, it's anybody. I think that one thing about Mahjong is anybody can do it. We have, we play with our boys, our kids, I play with my mom, anybody can play and it's not, So to me, it'd be like I think our tiles are for anyone.
Yeah.
And I think that Mahjong is something that can be, we call it, we call ours Charleston Mahjong Club, and they're all club themes, but then it's also welcome to the club. Like anyone is a member of our club. If you want to be involved, like anybody can do this. People say, oh, it's a little too complicated. I'm like, it's really not. You just have to like get past looking at that card for the first time.
Yeah.
And then you're fine.
Yeah.
Although when we got in the Maj Mahal,
That was pretty
that
big.
was pretty awesome. I was like, this guy has like 300 sets and he wants one of ours. That was cool.
That was exciting.
Yeah. Definitely.
So we're in the Taj Mahal. Thanks, Rob.
That was pretty exciting. Obviously, he's a
collector. I mean, he has ancient sets that he built a whole room with this. We saw videos, lots of videos at the tournament of this room, and it's just gorgeous. So
he's got old antique sets, and but he bought some of ours, which made us feel
I think that's like that makes you feel good when you have someone they've been in Mahjong for a long time and they know a lot about the game and the tiles, and they want one of your sets. I think that's flattering.
It is flattering. And then also it's flattering. I was with a group this past weekend, and one of the women had never played before, and she said, oh, these tiles are easy. It's easy for me to figure out which is which. And I was like, okay, that is something, what's the dots? What are the bands? Yeah. And I was like, okay, that is a huge compliment because, I mean, we know they're beautiful, but if they're not utilitarian, and if you can't figure out what is supposed to be the dragon, then you can't play with them. And that's not good either, right?
Yeah. We had that problem. One of my friends has a really fancy set, and we played, my mother-in-law taught us, but she wasn't there this one time. And we were like, we don't know what any of these are, basically. Like, they were too hard to tell. So I think that's huge then, being able to have a beautiful design, but still know what they are, right?
Right. Yes. And I think that was a big compliment this weekend, because I was like, okay, good. I mean, we do have a field guide that comes with all of our sets, so you can, it's a key. But to be able to just, intuitively say these are the dots, right? Obviously, those are the dots.
We try to keep it, and we think about that a lot. We have changed our designs and our thought process on this because we want it to be easy for you to tell when you're playing what suit is what. And so generally our BAMs tend to be green or in the green family, and the dragon tends to be green, and then our cracks tend to be in the red families. And we try to keep the same color scheme throughout the whole suit, so that when you're playing, it's easy to tell what's
right. And what goes with what, and then what, I mean, even though, for example, our country club cracks have a lady on a pool float, which I think is adorable. But it also has the number character on the tile. So it has that traditional character, Chinese character on the tile, as a nod to the more traditional. And if you have played before, then you can say, okay, that's a crack, even though it has this pool float, there's the crack symbol on there. So I think that we've tried to, even though a lot of these designs are whimsical and they're not traditional, you should be able to, or our intent is that you are able to figure out which is which.
Yes. Yeah. We've taught classes at some events with our tiles, and people said that it was easier for them to learn on our set versus the traditional. So the flowers on the traditional set tend to be scenery, and that can be a little confusing for people. And the suits can be a little confusing because the BAMs and the the BAMs and
the
dots sometimes look alike, I think, on the traditional suits. And the colors they're like dark colors. It's like red, dark green.
I have a set I have a traditional set that my green and my black are very close.
Yeah.
So if you're like me and you need your readers,
it's hard. It can be hard to make out.
So I think Mahjong is so preppy. It's something all of my preppy friends love, and so many of the tiles are so preppy. I mean, a country club and skiing set is so preppy. So I'm curious, what does preppy mean to each of you?
Well, I think of preppy as not just the look, but
Mhm.
the attitude or the lifestyle with it. And so I guess when I was coming up with these designs, preppy to me is like a leisurely, fun lifestyle. And so a lot of what our clubs are is about leisurely fun activities
Yep.
and color and whimsy. So
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of what, and kind of effortless. Like you want it to be cute and put together, but not look like it's like it just is an effortless,
Mhm.
fun.
Well, I think of preppy as kind of put together,
Mhm.
planned, but not in a fussy way,
Hmm.
Mm.
and kind of
Effortless, or
effortless
yeah.
and
Yeah.
fun. I would agree with Megan. I think that a lot of when I think of preppy, like preppy lifestyle,
Yep.
I think of a lot of social
Yeah.
activities and kind of a fun, upbeat, bright social,
Hmm.
which goes with our tiles because we have, the skiing and the pickleball and cocktails and, all our aesthetic has been bright and cheerful, but thoughtful.
Yep.
I think
That's
that kind of goes along with preppy.
totally. No, those are great answers. So, what's a tip you would share for someone who wants to start mahjong, try mahjong? What's like a number one tip you'd say?
I would say find a group. I was at we have a great public library on Daniel Island. And I was in there the other day, and there was a group of people playing in the multi-purpose room. They had a group playing in there. I mean, there are groups everywhere. You don't have a lot of people play at a country club
Mm.
or a yacht club, but people play at the public library. People get together all over the place and play. There are groups online. You can go on Facebook or Instagram and find a group in your area, and everybody that I've met is like really nice and welcoming, and it's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to socialize, and you could either form a group of friends that you have, or if you don't, you can join a group.
Yeah.
So I would say look around your
Yeah.
community and see who's playing.
And for me, I found it the easiest to learn by partnering with someone who already knew how to play and watching, because I'm a visual hands-on learner.
Mhm.
And so I took like we had a friend teach us, and like I said, I think I recalled maybe like a third, if that, of it. But really sitting down and don't be afraid to sit and just watch someone or partner with someone, and do that a few times. And then also, most hopefully people are friendly and are welcoming. Like we try to be very welcoming. I probably play more than you, because I played just last weekend.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have our friends come. I'm like, don't worry about it. Just come and sit next to me. My sister
Mhm.
learned the other week. I said, just come sit next to me. You'll watch a couple hands. And then by the third hand, she was playing on her own.
Yeah.
We play open hands sometimes too with new
We'll play open
people, where you can
hand.
Yeah.
just everybody show their
Yeah.
tiles for a hand or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's a good way to, help
That's
them.
smart.
Now we're
Yeah.
social players.
Yes.
In a tournament style, it would be different, of
Yeah.
course. And
Yeah.
we're not like
Those women and men at that tournament, they're fast.
yeah,
Yeah.
When they were so fast. There's no talking.
yeah, no
It's
talking.
like it was,
And they
I
mean
was
business.
very impressed. They
Yes.
mean
Oh my
business.
gosh.
I was very impressed with how fast they picked their hand, and they're
Yeah.
off.
Right?
Also, there are a couple different websites that have, like, you can
Yes.
play online,
Mhm.
and I
Yep.
found that helpful in the beginning, just because you try to do something and it'll be like, dang, can't do that. You can't, take a
Pair.
discard for a
Yeah.
pair or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yes, a
helpful.
lot of people do play. They suggest that a lot, and
Play online.
yeah, to play online to get better at it. And then of course the new card is coming out any minute now,
Right.
so
No.
we're all going to have to relearn the whole new 25 card.
I definitely think finding a group, because if you find a group to play with, then you're going to keep doing it,
Yeah,
because
Yes.
that's part of it is
Yeah.
the
It's a
social
routine.
aspect.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you
exactly.
really need one set. for, a group of 4 or more, because if you have people partnered up,
Yeah.
sometimes we have 5, 6 people playing, and you only need 1 set between you
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So if you have a
You
couple
don't have
girlfriends,
to have,
yeah.
everything. Yeah, one
Yeah.
person doesn't have to have everything.
And really, you just need the tiles and the card. It helps
Mhm.
to have the racks, but they don't play it traditionally with racks.
Right.
Mhm.
But you don't have to have all the stuff. You can just start playing.
Well, and we designed our tiles specifically, or in part, so they can stand up on their own. So if you don't have, I mean, we play with racks, but if you don't have a rack, you can still play.
Yeah.
So you don't have to invest in everything
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice.
I mean, I think we're all so isolated in our lives, and we're all on our phones and our
Yeah.
computers. And so it's good to have something that brings us together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this
So
is a way to do that.
Yep.
definitely. No, I think that's all great advice for people to dive in and try it and not be intimidated by it. So my final question is, where can people find you guys? Let them know your website, your social media handles, all of that, so they can buy, they can shop, and follow along.
Well, we have a website on Shopify. It's www.charlestonmahjongclub.com. All one word
Mhm.
with 1 G.
Yes, 1G.
And we have our Instagram is at Charleston Mahjong Club. And you can usually find updates on our products on our Instagram page. We're pretty proficient at posting on that. So we usually send updates. We also have an email subscription on our website, and we'll send out emails, especially like when the country club tiles come back in, we'll send emails, etc. So you can find us on those. And then we're also on Etsy.
Okay.
If just searching for tiles, you'll find our tiles and products on there.
And we're on Facebook.
We're on Facebook.
So if you don't even remember our website, if you just Google Charleston Mahjong Club, it'll pop up.
Amazing.
And we didn't talk about our name, but even though we live in Charleston, and obviously we chose that name because we live here, the Charleston is part of the game of Mahjong when you pass the tiles. And it's named after the dance from the 1920s. And so our tagline is actually the Charleston Mahjong Club, where every move is a dance and every player is a friend. So we just wanted to have a nod to the Charleston in our name, and also because we design club themed sets. We decided that we wanted to, our other tagline is like, welcome to the club, join the club. We want everyone to be a member of our club. I wanted to have people have the feel of an exclusive club that's accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that. That's such a cute story and a great name. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for being on the podcast today. I loved learning more about you and your business.
Thank you for the opportunity. We enjoyed listening to your other podcast. We've been following you. We've been following your Instagram, and we just love all of what you're doing. So we appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Preppy podcast. I hope this put a little prep in your step for the day. Please subscribe, rate, and review on wherever you listen to your podcast, and follow along with @the Preppy Podcast on social media.